This is Steven Hochstetler, Jacob Van Heuklom, Kyle Van Heuklom, and Cory Ladwig. And I'm Alex Van Heuklom. Okay. Okay. Long distance relationship. What is a relationship? How do we define it? Cell phones, email, online social networking, and instant messaging has permanently changed the way we observe and define intimate and even casual relationships. What once would have been considered going steady with someone might now only classify as being an acquaintance. In a survey by Match.com, it found that 17% of those who were married in the past 3 years met online, making it the third most frequent method of introduction, behind meeting through a mutual acquaintance or at work or school. And this is from WashingtonPost.com. The internet has definitely brightened this relationship, but they sure have not made them any less challenging. Okay, so as an example, I'm going to be using Jane and John as a couple for, examples. Jane and John started going steady because they can't stand to be apart. They comfort each other, make each other feel loved, and make each other feel important. And they also make each other feel whole. Long-distance relationships are something that happen often. People move for work or move for school. Their significant other can't always come with. When a couple like Jane and John decide to try for a long-distance relationship, they're basically promising to remain loyal to each other and build towards the goal of being closer to each other and even living together in the future. That is all well and good. However, when John is upset or angry or having a bad day, is a text from Jane that says, "I'm sorry you're having a bad day," going to be near as effective as Jane being there to talk to you about it? Partners look to each other for support and for comfort. When they're apart for even long or even short amounts of time, they can get angry at each other without even realizing why. Eventually, or sometimes, a subconscious animosity is built and aimed to and from each other. Internally, Jane wonders why John doesn't have time to come see her, or vice versa. Although it's not all bad, if Jane and John really truly love each other, and are able to look to the future instead of the present, they have a great shot at having a good relationship, long distance or not. On her website devoted to relationships and mental health, Allison concluded that long distance relationships are doable if the people involved believe that the friendship is worth it. Maintaining something positive in itself, I believe, can bring people great satisfaction, and that goes hand in hand with good mental health. However, I don't think even the strongest long-distance relationship could survive in today's fast-paced world without phones or the internet. During a long-distance relationship, so many things are handled or figured out over the phone. This can make it very difficult because there's no way to display nonverbal communication. Something that could easily be said and understood in person could easily be taken the wrong way over the phone, and this can cause hardship or grief. Email, phones, online chatting, long-distance relationships can be very difficult and very trying for anyone, even with those technologies. Variables get added to the equation. The more variables you have, the harder it is to accomplish even the seemingly easiest of tasks. Just scheduling a time to go out to eat can be difficult. Conflicting work schedules and long drives can complicate just a simple dinner date, which can be especially frustrating. Twoofus.org, a relationship advice website, warns, phone calls and emails are generally not enough to keep a relationship afloat over an extended period of time. Problems and issues that arise between the two of you are usually better resolved in person. Obviously, they're better resolved in person, but it can be worked around. The cell phone is one of the most underrated and overrated devices ever invented. It can make and break a long-distance relationship. Couples can rely too much on cell phones to the point where there can be a disconnect emotionally, and phones also make it impossible to convey nonverbal bodily signals. But there are times when the couple is not together, one of them needs to talk to the other, and it wouldn't be possible to do that if there was no such thing as phones, cell phones, or the internet. So they're a necessary evil, almost. But even with technology, it's hard not to think about what your partner might really be doing. Being apart can cause one or both partners to be suspicious. Let's say John is having a bad day. And when he doesn't have Jane there to make him feel better, he might vent his anger or build suspicion towards Jane without even realizing it. A lot of it's subconscious. A good example of this kind of thing could be from, let's say, John's watching a movie and one of the women in the movie is caught cheating. Subconsciously, he might think, oh, well, maybe Jane's doing the same thing, we're not together, you know, and then he builds a suspicion, and then he gets angry, and then they have arguments, and it can snowball from there. Without Jane there to reassure John that she is being faithful, suspicion can lead to distrust, and jealousy can lead to anger. A long-distance relationship can be destroyed by one of these things alone. That's why the key, it seems, is happiness. Remain positive. It's hard to be happy when you're away from your significant other for such a long period of time, but it's better to stay positive, think positive, because you're more likely to have a positive experience. Avani Mehta of lifeoptimizer.org best describes it: the more you stay happy, the more your partner will be happy. And if you're not, it's going to be on his or her mind always. Your unhappiness equates to your partner being unhappy and consistently worried about you. It's hard to maintain a healthy relationship when John is constantly worried that Jane is upset, or if Jane's constantly worried that John's upset, you know. If they can both maintain a mutual happiness, at least most of the time, they will worry less, and therefore will have a more successful long-distance relationship. Cell phones and the internet can make or break long-distance relationships. Most of the time, they are a necessary evil, which means you need them, but they can be bad at times. Without being together, being able to vent to each other, comfort each other, everyday life can become trying. And long-distance relationships are difficult to maintain for an extended period of time. Many times, eventually, one person might not be able to handle the stress and something might go wrong. But the most important thing for Jane and John to do when in the situation of a long-distance relationship is to focus on the future that they want with each other. They must also remain positive and set guidelines for how they would like to communicate with each other. It is important that Jane and John know what they're getting into, and like any difficult task, it's best that they try their hardest. Thank you for watching.